Okay, so welcome all. This is our 78th PC Open discussion. We'll be again talking about what's new in Business Central 2022 Release Wave 1. Uh, we might set up either Sandeep said either next week or on 23rd a follow-up call on what we are doing with our file management using different tools like we were trying with Azure Blob Storage, Azure file storage. I also tried that once, and then SharePoint and all. So let's set it up maybe for 23rd and maybe discuss. I'll also try to kind of move ahead from where I was, and then let's see how it goes there. Okay, so let's go to the normals. Here is where you go every week to register. If you want to register every week, if you don't want to get into hassle of registering every week, then drop your name and email in the chat and you'll get invited in future. Okay, so today we'll be talking majorly around things that have changed specifically around report areas, because somebody pinged me and chats in chat on LinkedIn or somewhere that we haven't covered about anything about reports. So this today majorly will be covering about reports that has been changed or enhancement that has been done by Microsoft on reports. So the first quick thing, which will not take much time, is Microsoft have added a report selection menu for jobs. So if you remember in Business Central 17 or 18, I'm not sure, Microsoft added a new report for job codes, which was not available before that. And that was added into the job card. There was a idea that was submitted to have feature like report selection for jobs module. And then there was another part of the idea to have support for document layouts on the jobs like it is available in sales and purchase area, so that even you have a report selection done on the report selection of that particular report, you can still override that for one particular customer. And does everybody know about it? Should I open
No,
my...
haven't
Okay.
seen it.
Okay, so let me show you what happens is, so if let's suppose you have customers who are on Business Central and you have by default set report selection for sales invoice and purchase invoices in your system, but then there are some special customer whom you don't want to send the same report which is available for others, and you build a separate report for them. Now you want to make sure that every time you have that particular set of customers, they get a different report than what is set on the report selection sales. So, okay, it's slow. Okay, so on code, like there is 1304, which is selected. So anytime you send an email or you try to print the sales code, this report will get printed. But let's say one of our customer, which is a special customer for which you have built a separate report for sales code. And anytime you want to have a conversation with this customer about the quotation, you don't want to send them 1306, you want to send them a separate report. And what you can do is you can come to customer card. The same feature is also available on vendor card for a very long time. And then I'm bad with menus, but here on the navigate menu, you see this document layout. Here you can select which report will be chosen for this particular customer only. So you can say for code, I don't want to send 1306. I want to send a different report. And I don't want to use the email address which is on the customer card or on the contact card. I want to use a different email when I try to send them an email. And I want to use a different email body. So all those options are available here. And if this is set, then this takes priority over report selection. So whenever you try to send an email to a customer where the document layout are set, that reports take priority over report selection. Does that make sense?
Yes, it
So
does. It
this
does.
is also available, like you can copy everything from there on the report selection. It will do that, and then you can change the report number if needed, which are related to this customer. Same is available on the purchase side on vendors, where you can set a different report ID and a different layout and even a different email body whenever you need for these. And then that will be taken on priority rather than on report selection. So for the rest, which was requested in that change or idea on the Microsoft website, Microsoft said that that is still in progress and it will take a little bit more time to kind of bake it into the product. Right now, only the report selection job page is added, which have only one option right now, which is quote. And it works in the similar way as it works for sales and purchase. Okay, one more report change. Microsoft did some enhancement onto the bank account statement report, which is available on your posted bank reconciliation window if you use that. And there are some new fields added, which is GL balance, outstanding payment, and checks, which were, I'm not sure was it an idea or not, but this was one of the change that they did in this release by modifying this report. Okay, coming back to report layouts. Sandeep sir, yeah, you have something?
Yeah, but I'm just about to ask you layouts, Excel
Okay.
layout. Have you tried?
Yeah, I did. We'll talk about it today. So, report layouts are a little bit confusing for so many people for all these years where Microsoft keeps on changing those. So, first, let's go into the history of report layouts and what they are and how what is possible before Business Central 20 and what's available in Business Central 20. So, till Business Central 20, what is possible is that there is a report from Microsoft and you don't want to modify the code or the data items of the report, but you just don't like the way the report is displaying data and you want to create a custom view of it. In those situations, you don't have to save as that report and modify the report itself. What you can do is you can actually search for a page called custom report layout. This is the page where uh, initially only the word layouts were saved, but it's pretty much extensible. And this was even available in the previous versions. You can just do a new, choose a report number that you want to modify. Let's say 10074 is the report, I guess. Yeah, sales invoice. And then you can do an insert RDLC layout or insert word layout, depending on does the extension have a RDLC layout or not. So I know for a fact that the 10074 sales invoice for North America have a RDLC layout built in. So as soon as you do that, it will add a new entry here of 10074 and it will be called as copy of built-in layout. And I say it as sort of sales invoice. Now what it is the actual RDLC layout that was built by Microsoft, and you can export that layout, which will download an RDL file, and it'll already have what Microsoft have built in the base report, which is this layout. Whatever tweakings you have to do, you can do in this. You want to move some components up and down, you want to change the grouping and all, you want to change the colors and all. Once you're done with this, whatever changes you want to make, you can always come back here and upload the layout back, import layout. Now, once this is done, it doesn't make it available for users right now. Then there is a page called report layout selection. In this report, in this page, you filter out for the report for which you have created a custom layout, either Word or RDLC or now Excel. And then you can choose the custom here and show you all the custom layout that are available for that particular report. As soon as you choose that, anytime after that, whenever a user in this company runs this report, the custom layout will be run, not the standard one. And same, you can set it up for multiple companies if you have. So this was the historical, what was available in the product, that you can have multiple layouts for a report, either RDLC or Word, and then you can define and choose them into the report layout selection page. Now, there were two problems in that. One, the custom report layout data is actually a data, it's not an object. So people who are working on source control and all, they were not able to kind of keep these layouts in sync for their customers because they were not part of an object or an extension. They were part of data, and customer can come and click on this and download layout, do some changes that the way they want, and then upload it back. So it was very hard to kind of manage data in this, especially for the devs that partners do for customers. That was the first problem. The second problem started when the report extension came into picture, because in report extension, you can also add a layout to your report extension. So if I create a report extension and I say this is 50/100 and this is targeting sales invoice, let's say this one, I can actually here define the RDLC layout if I need. Now that will not be stored as data in the custom report layout, but that will be part of extension. So it was super confusing which one is coming as data and which one is coming from the extension. So to kind of sort out that problem, this new page is available called Report Layout Administration. This page shows you all the layout that are available for one or more report, and also show you that from which source this layout is coming from. Is it coming from base app? Is it coming from a custom app? What type of layout it is? So now this report layout administration will show you all the reports that are available in your environment. Report layouts. Every report that's part of this environment, either by Microsoft, by your custom extension, by ISVs, they all will be listed here. And this is the kind of the path of the RDLC file or the Word file that you have in your extension. So it kind of keeps it safe there. Again, there is a new layout option, which eventually will go and create a custom layout for that if required. We'll talk about Excel in a while. I haven't explored this, but there is one more thing which I'm not sure what is this external. So that's something I'll have to kind of dig deep into it. What is external? You can run the report, you can set it as default. Again, you can export the layout, you can replace the layout and things like that. All that was available on custom report layout is now available on the report layout. And maybe in future they drop custom report layout, which I don't know yet. So that's one change which is very important as we go ahead and talk about other changes related to reports. So remember this report layout administration page, because this will help us to do things. Now, as I was talking earlier, that there are problems that for a customer, if you want to have 5 layouts per report for different reasons, you are not able to do it in the Visual Studio Code. That was only possible by that custom report layout selection page. And then it was not part of your extension, it was actually data. Starting Business Central 20, either you are using reports or you are using report extension, you can actually add multiple layouts as part of your extension. They can be Word layout, they can be RDLC layout, a mixture of those. It's okay. Whatever you want to do, you can add those report layouts by using this new area in your report and report extension called rendering. So within rendering, you can define what layout name is and where the file is and uh, how you want to match it. So let's quickly give it a try on 10074. Maybe that'll be easier. Okay, because we already have it. Let me see what's the name of the report. 10074. The report is called sales invoice NA. Now, as of now, you see there is one layout attached to it called RDLC layout. Now, if I come here and I was actually targeting to the right report. In this report, if I using report extension, if I want to add some fields into it, let's do it with an wizard because that makes it easier for me also. Okay, so let me create a new folder. Source, it's important for reports because it kind of means a relative path where the files are stored. Okay, now let's do a wizard and do a report extension. And then the object name is, let's say SDH, it's invoice NA, and then it is extending sales invoice NA report. What I want to do with this is, let's say I want to add some fields into it. Let's pick some random fields. Okay, let's take due date and amount. Okay, if I want something online, let's pick that. Bin code, let's add that. Anything else? No, that's it. All right. Once I finish it, I'll add those fields into the data set using the report extension. Now, as we all know, that report extension was released earlier, and there you can do a limited set of changes in your report data set if required. There are some triggers which you can also modify using report extension, and then you can surely add more columns into it. And you can't delete a column, which is, I guess, thumb rule for every extension that's available. So once it is available, I don't want to modify Microsoft layout, and I would like to define my own layout for this. Now, I might want one layout, and if that's the case, then I can use the default RDLC layout or the word layout property, which is still available. So it's not going away if you just have to define one layout. But if you have to define multiple layouts for this report, then you can surely choose a section called rendering. And inside that, you can add a layout. Let's see, is there a snippet? There it is. I need to define a name. Let's say number 1. I guess there should be a caption property. Yes, that will be visible in our administration page. Anything else? Okay, that's it. Now I need a RDL file so that I can use it. So I'll say it's called demo.rdl, but it is stored where? It is stored in my source folder. Inside that, there is a report extension folder, and then the demo.rdl. Now, if you want to create a completely new layout, then leave it as it is. And you just do the Control-Shift-B. Hey, Sam, you have something?
Yeah, hello. There is this MIME type property. What does it do?
That's a good one. Let's see. MIME type.
MIME. Says MIME type. So actually, it can be set to custom, only to custom, really.
Okay, let's see, are there any options available for this value? No. I'll
Custom.
have,
I found that on Twitter.
sorry,
It's a custom.
set it to custom.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know, it doesn't support that. Oh, if the type is set to custom, then you can set it. Okay, if type is equals to custom. Okay, what are the option? Custom Excel. Okay. Oh, so that might be that new option which is available, which I don't know much. So I'll have to maybe search for that, what that is. If
You need to
type
add it as a
is,
string, not a. It's a string with simple quotes.
You got have two types, right? IDLC and custom.
oh, sorry. Oh, yeah. What this is set to. Are there any values? ABC? No.
But try with string custom, simple quotes custom.
What does
Like
that will do?
they say, if the report is a custom, this attribute is to be added.
Okay,
There's
let me search for it maybe, and I'll come back to this one maybe next meeting. Okay, so coming back to if you have to create a fresh layout from the beginning, then leave it as it is and do a Control Shift B. B as Bombay. When you do a Control Shift B, you will see a new demo.rdl will get added here like this. This will be an empty RDLC file with all the fields from your standard report dataset plus the fields that we have added here. But if you don't want to work from the beginning and you want to save some time and you think that whatever Microsoft have, you can utilize that. So remember, we downloaded the layout in the earlier page, in that page. I'm just copying it in here. Okay. Let me paste it in here if I can. Here, that was default. It is standard Microsoft. The name should match, so I'll change it to demo. Okay, and then I can also add one more time this, and let's say this will be demo 2. Now the demo 2, I want to start from beginning, and the demo 1 I'm trying to use on modifying based on what's provided by Microsoft. Because I downloaded or copied demo layout from the Microsoft extension, this will not yet have references to these fields. If I try to find bin code into the dataset of this report in this RDL file, I'll not find it because I haven't updated the dataset yet. To update the dataset, I just need to do a Control Shift B again, which is the build process. That will add a demo2.rdl and will update the dataset of demo.rdl because it's already existing. The demo2.rdl is available, and if I open demo.rdl now, I should see that these fields are added now, the pin code, and somewhere in the middle we'll see the amount and due date fields because they will be in the header section. So once this is done, I can always place those fields here. Let me try to zoom this in if I can. Okay. So let me randomly place these two fields or this one field somewhere. Okay, let me add it here on this. Oh, there is already so much. Okay, so let me change this. That I don't want all this. I want this plus my new field, which is if the customer is using bin code on that item. And then I want this to be highlighted because it's an important field for my customer, let's say. So now this is my demo.rdl, and it's available as part of my extension, not as data. So if I right now look into, before publishing this, into my report layout for 10074, I'll only see that there is only one report layout, which is from Microsoft, and let me see if I can. Extension layout info cannot be modified. Edit the copy of now. Okay. How I change this? Is there a lookup somewhere? I don't see that. Okay, but let's try to publish this and see what happens. So when I publish this, I'm hoping this report layout that I've added for sales invoice NA will show me more layout options in that report. So let's do a publish. Once this gets published, okay, and so the benefit of this rendering section is that if your customer asks you to create multiple layouts for a report, you don't have to rely on that data option, and you can actually have the report in your data set, sorry, in your source control. And you can see now that for the sales invoice, we see three options, which is demo 1, demo 2, and then it also provides you that from which extension this is being populated. Now, I haven't run this, but I'm hoping that this will set this as default. So let me try that. Has been set on for report sales invoice. But let's see, did it set it for both the companies or not? So report layout selection is the page where you used to set it. Okay. And if I do it as 10074, I see that it's already updated to demo 1, but only for the current company, not for the other company. So if you only want to set it for the current company, then you can do it from here, which is crazy. They should have a pop-up here. Should I set it for all companies, or just all companies or current company? That would have made more sense here. But maybe there is a possibility to customize it, because we have customers who have 7 companies, 10 companies. It becomes tricky where you have to do it manually every time when you are setting a default on every company. So let's see if we can do that or not going forward. Okay. So once this is done, you can, when we run the sales invoice report now, let's go into my posted sales invoices. And when I try to print this, okay, which report it is running? I'm not sure, did I set that to be the report? It's running 1306. Okay, so let me change it for this customer, the way we were talking about it. Navigate, document layouts, choose the invoice and choose 10074. Okay. Do you want to have a specific one? This is custom report layout. You want to send a separate email? Do you have an email body? There is an email body available. Okay, let's close this. Now let's go back and try to print this. Let's see which report it picks now. It does pick 10074 because we have changed the report selection for this customer only. So when I preview this should show me that number into a different color, because that was part of my custom layout instead of the base Microsoft layout. If there was a bin code, that would have also been populated here. So that in turn helps with the first discussion that we had, the report layout page, because now you can have multiple layouts for your report, That also makes it possible that you can set them and see uh, for the in the administration page that maybe an ISV that you're dealing with would have created a new custom layout for a base Microsoft report. I haven't thought about it, but is it possible to modify a layout which is done by ISV? That might be interesting to think about. But because there are situations where you would like to do some changes on top of ISV's changes that they have done. So I'll have to maybe test that out by installing an ISV and see that is it possible to modify. I'm pretty sure we are able to modify their reports by using report extension and building a custom layout. But the situation that I'm talking about is if ISV have modified the layout for, let's say, report 2, can you modify their layout by creating a layout on top of it? So what's getting printed for your users starting Business Central 20? You might don't need to look directly on the report itself that what is the layout. You should always come to the report layouts page and then the report layout selection page and to identify exactly which layout is being ran for that customer on that company. It's not that simple as it used to be, but this possibility of adding multiple layouts is only possible by this confusion, if you want to call it. Does that make sense or any questions?
No, it makes sense. Great.
I'll look for the type external and what a custom and see what happens with that. I'll play around with it. I've already broken my container once by testing something else. But yeah, I'll give it a try and maybe we'll talk about it. Okay. This was one of the things that people were super excited after the time Microsoft announced that they are going to have the possibility to use Excel for building reports. Now, the Excel layout also works in a way, the way RDLC and the Word layout are done. The cool part is that you can also upload your Excel layouts into your dataset in the custom report layout selection, or you can also add a custom layout of type Excel as we are seeing here. Yes, there's an Excel option available. Now, how they work, that's a little bit I don't like as in way. Maybe I need to learn something else of it. But what happens is when you run a report, there is an option based on which you can download the data set of report into Excel. That was available starting Business Central 19. Now, using that data set, you can use your pivot tables, you can use your charts and other things, Excel capabilities that you want to use, and build a layout there. Once you have built your Excel output the way you want from that data set, you can save that file and then upload that file back into the database. Then you can run that report and choose to have an Excel layout as an output using the custom report layout selection page, which is something that I don't like. I would have preferred if they would have added a button or a selection on the request page that give me the Excel file rather than giving me this only option. And let's see what I'm saying. Okay, this seems our favorite report right now, 10074. So let's play with this only. So once you are on this page of sales invoice, you have all your options set and everything. So instead of running, you can always do a send to Excel data only. As we all know, what this will do is this will give me the data set of that report in an Excel, which is here now. Once you have the data set of your Excel, the way Microsoft has done it is by default, you get two tabs in your Excel. One is the data tab and one is the report metadata tab. Report metadata kind of contains the filters that you have applied and the detail of your extension and the object. In the data tab, there is actually what we call that named section, which is the whole table X of this data that's being generated out of this data set. And that you can access from here, and that's called as data, which is the consolidated part of the data set that's kind of come, and it's kind of stored or named as data. You should not change the word data here, or you should not rename this, because based on these two logic, the whole Excel layout reports are working. Once you are here, you have chosen this, then you can do whatever you want. I'm not that a great Excel person, but let's try it. If I do it from table and range on the new worksheet, and then if I want, what should I pick? I don't know. Number?
Define the amount,
Sorry?
customer code and amount, customer code into rows, amount into columns. That should do.
Customer code, let me see.
Bill to customer name or sell to customer name, whatever.
Okay, so like this.
Yeah, that should do.
Now, because this is a invoice report, this might not be the right example that we have chosen, because there are some repeating data item data set that's generated, and we are looking at the amount, which you see that it's being repeating on all the lines. So this might not be a great example to use, but I guess you understand that from that perspective. So this is the data set. So you need to keep that in mind, that data set is dependent on your relationship of your data item in your report design. So what is that is, when I look at this, the sales invoice header have a child called sales invoice line, and then there is a sales command line, and then there is a copy loop, and then there is inside this, I guess there is a page loop. So based on these indentation, the values of your fields repeats to kind of print everything that's requested based on the layout. So while working with the Excel layout, keep that in mind, that what data set you are using and what kind of report you are trying to extract out of it. But let's suppose this is it. And then just for fun, let maybe add, there used to be an option. Oh yeah, visualize. Okay. So let's see a recommended chart. Let's see this one. Okay. So now you have built this. Let's assume that this is what you want. Just FYI, I'm going to do another kind of check on this to connect it to a data source, which is, let's say, coming from an Excel file separately, and then using, instead of doing a pivot table, doing a Power BI, from where I can link multiple data items, see how it's getting refreshed or not. So that's second part, which I'll think about it later. But let's assume this is the layout that you want. You save your file, that's done. And then you remember your report number, and you come here to your custom report layout. In this, you add a new entry for that report. And there is no option for that. Okay. You know. Sorry?
Report layout. Not customer.
Maybe, yeah. Haven't seen that report layout.
I checked customer, it was not there.
Okay. So if I look at 10074, right now there are 3 layouts. Let's try to do a new layout. Okay, yeah, here is the option for Excel. And I say this is my Excel test. Okay. Need to choose a file. I'll go ahead and choose my file. Here it is. Now, my expectation, and maybe me being new, pretty optimistic about it. My idea was that when I come here and I say print, I should have a drop down somewhere or a button somewhere where I can say, oh, print my Excel. But the thing that I didn't like about it is that's how it doesn't work. It works that you select this layout, you make it as default, or go to your report layout selection page and choose your Excel layout as default layout. Then when you come to your posted sales invoice and you try to print this, what happened? Didn't like it. Oh, there was a download button?
Yeah, go to the report. It's
Ah.
full.
Now, yes. So now it's changed to download, which means it will download. So instead of just this, maybe let me choose multiple so that we can see how it changes. Okay, copy. Okay, and then print, and let me add a filter here, right here. Oh, that copied so many things. I didn't like that. Okay, so let me cut this out and also cut this out. Okay, and then remove the customer. Oh, there are multiple for 30,000. So let me remove the number filter and do it for 30,000. So we'll see some more data over there. Okay. And then you can just download this. This will take your Excel file that you have uploaded, generate the data set, and refresh your charts and pivot based on whatever the data is being generated. Because remember, this pivot is built based on, where is that? Change data source, based on the data. Now, data can grow and reduce as you change your filters of your report, but then because it's related to this, the named item, it changes based on whatever filters you change. The data changes, and that's how your sheets related to your Excel layouts updates automatically. My expectation, as I was saying, was not this. Maybe I was expecting more, but my expectation was that let the user run if they want to run this report as as PDF or print. But then it might add an action here or maybe an action here to give me the Excel. But yeah, there might be some scenarios where this is useful, where you can specifically set Excel as the default layout and then utilize it wherever you need it. Yes, sir.
Yeah, actually, basically for MIS reports, all those analytical table data is there. This is
Yes.
specifically for those purposes. It will never be used for invoice reports or something.
Yeah, invoice report was just a wrong example, as I was saying. But yeah, if there are some reports which you don't want to build RDLC layout, think about it. You don't want to build RDLC layout, it's okay now. You can either make an Excel layout using the rendering section in your reports like this, or you can you can either create a, a Excel layout the way we created it by just downloading the data. So as Sandeep sir was saying, that's the only situation where you'll use it as kind of MIS report, or if a customer needs a report in Excel, maybe that's another situation where you just use the data set as a flat file and show it to user.
What will be interesting is if we can hard code some Excel fields to pick data from somewhere else, like you were saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to try. That I join the data, because let me give you the bigger picture that I have in mind. The bigger picture is that can I connect it to a dataverse and fetch some data from there and some data from NAV or Business Central, and then try to link them and build a Excel visual output, if that makes sense.
It will make perfect sense. It will make perfect sense.
Yeah. So maybe, yeah, next week what I'll do, or this week what I'll do, is I'll play around and see, can I bring some data, let's say from SQL or from a text file, and then link it with this data item, and then use a combination of those to generate my pivot tables and all. Because I can also create named areas in my Excel, like Microsoft did, right? That is an Excel feature. and that will be tagged like that. So let's see how that goes. So surely play around with it. If you learn something which I don't know, let me know. And as I told you, Sam, I'll look into the MIME type and what was that other property? I forgot now. The custom property
Yeah.
of the type. Let's see what those are. Otherwise, on in a week or so, or more than a week now, we have the launch event, and Microsoft will surely talk about it and the scene what they are doing. Okay, moving to the next feature, which I like super much, as in these are the things that were requested and required. So if you remember what they did in Business Central 18 and 19, or in the minor hot fixes of those, they gave us an option on the documents page. Let me show you what I mean by that if I have it. So when you go into your documents, let's say on sales order, and you try to attach a file to in the attachment areas, you click on this. What they gave us is have this link called open in OneDrive. The initial release, it didn't make any sense what they were trying to do, but the whole idea was to, when you click on that action of open in OneDrive, the Business Central code was copying that file that you have attached to OneDrive and then opening it into the OneDrive. That was the only idea there. The way it was announced is that you might have some applications which are not installed on your computer, let's say Microsoft Word, and you are attaching a Word document. So you can actually open that document if it is copied to OneDrive. So using that action, even if you don't have Excel or Word or PDF installed on your machine, the OneDrive is able to kind of run those applications to open those documents. And that's why they added this option to open in OneDrive. And this was back in 18 and 19, which is open in OneDrive. In this release, what they have done is extended it a little bit and then also gave some areas where developer can utilize the same framework if they need. Now you can actually use a share action where you can actually share the file that is generated with internal or external recipients in your organization or outside your organization. You can also limit what they can do. Can they download that file? Can they just see that file? And things like that. So you can define all those settings, an expiry date, how long that file will be available and all. So what happens is when you do a share action, first your file get copied from your Business Central environment to your OneDrive environment. And then Business Central is utilizing the capabilities of OneDrive share feature, which pops up this window. And then you can define your names and email address with whom you want to share that file, and they'll get an email on their email link to open that document. Now this is very limited as in done in limited areas in Business Central, but for developers, the base and the system application have the code which developers can utilize to kind of integrate OneDrive. If you have to build this feature to share a file on some of your custom areas or some custom functionality that you're building, then it is just a simple single line of code that you can utilize to kind of have the similar experience on your custom application. Remember, this is only SaaS. This is not on-prem. And that's why I have this my SaaS environment. The way, if you remember, we talked about it in the previous release also in Business Central 19. When you go into my settings, there is this cloud storage, which if it is not enabled, it kind of doesn't work. But if you click on it, it goes into that OAuth thing and then validates that do you have OneDrive available or not in your license, and then can you access that OneDrive or not. So like this, I have it and I can access it. You can utilize the share feature as of today by standard Microsoft in two areas. One I have already shown you, or I'll go back there, or into this report inbox section. Now, if you're not familiar about it, let me know. We'll talk about it, what this section is. But once the report is here, you can do a open in OneDrive, or you can share it. So I can share it. It's trying to copy this file into my OneDrive and check is it exists or not. So it does exist. So I can say replace or keep both, whatever I want to do, and then it'll rename if I keep both. This pops up this window, and then it tells me that it is shared with only with the administrator right now. You can define your email addresses and your names that you have inside or outside your organization. This is my personal email. And then you can limit what they can do with that. Anyone in this link, organization wise, having access, certain people, can they edit this? This is a PDF, they cannot, but in that case, is there an expiration date? You want to set a password that they should know, and do you want to block the downloads or not? So all those options, and this is nothing new. This is what's available in OneDrive. It's kind of added into Business Central, and then you can do a send. If you have to type a message, you can do that, and then it'll send an email to the person that you have defined right now to kind of say that, okay, so, this administrator would like to share the files with you, and click on this link to access that file, which sometime goes into your spam, at least in Gmail. I don't know why, but let me open that. Okay, here it is. It kind of gets into here, and then I can open this document. I'm not part of that Business Central environment. This is my personal Gmail. I'm on a separate browser, which is my personal browser, rather than using this administrator account here. But as the permission is given on the OneDrive, I can access the report or anything that is placed on that OneDrive. Now let's talk about behind the scenes, because that is what we'll need to, if we have to kind of modify this. So let's look at the report inbox if I can. Is it a part? I guess it is a part. Let's see. So in this, there is open in OneDrive, and then there is share in OneDrive, which calls share in OneDrive. Cool. Okay. Okay. Report inbox. Okay. I might have to go and search for report inbox. Okay, so the report inbox should have a method or a procedure which deals with share it OneDrive. What it does, this code unit was already added in the previous release. It says check the report output, create an stream for it, get the file name and get the extension, and then share it with OneDrive using the document service management code unit. So if you have to share, you just have to do this part. And then everything is written inside that, and you can surely go in, I guess, to a certain level and see.
You have to refer it from there.
Sorry?
You have to refer it from code only then.
Is it in the base or the system app?
It's in the base.
Base, document service management. Okay. Okay. Here it is. And it then, oh man, it calls so many places.
It's not easy to debug.
Yeah, it's not easy to kind of see now. Okay, so we are looking for share in document sharing. As in, you don't need it to go deep into it if you don't want. You can just use that method that we saw in that page. And it's not in the base app, so it goes into the system app for sure. Yes. Okay, now this is another crazy part because it calls the implementation code unit.
It will not show you anything. It will not show you anything.
Not showing me anything. Let me give the last try. Okay. Coordinate document sharing implementation. Okay. And it was calling the run, which is this. Can upload document sharing intent is share, then upload this dialog. If it is not share, then it does this blob text. Okay. And then it on upload document and uploading document dot close. If document can share, if this is greater than 0. Okay, so that's how this share and open buttons are being active based on if the length is high, greater than 0, if there's a document URL, and then there's a preview URL, then you can do again open. If you can't do either of those, then there's an error. Otherwise, it checks the intent here for readability, but will never fail. Open. Okay, and this is share. There is Sandeep sir, our file management change. We might want to read this implementation code unit. It has so many things.
Yeah, I refer to it, but the thing is, it uses some internal code.
Yeah, which you can't see. Yeah, which we can't see. Okay, yeah. So you can spend your time and learn about it if you wanted. But as I was saying, that everything is into this one function. What is that reporting box? I guess in this table there is a method to kind of do a share somewhere, open in OneDrive and then share in OneDrive. So if you have to share in OneDrive, you just have to kind of put your file into a stream, get the file extension and file name, and then just call this method using this code unit, and will get uploaded and share window if you need it on your custom extension that you're building. In the base Microsoft product, it's available in the report inbox window and also in the attachment section of your report. When you go here, you also see open OneDrive and share. Remember, this doesn't replace storing document on your system. The files will still be stored in your Business Central environment and will consume space. It just is to kind of have capability to share a document that is available on your Business Central, or adds a capability to open that document in OneDrive if required. So it doesn't replaces the file storage options that we have. So about, I guess that's all for today, and then we'll talk about other things later. Yes, Sandeep sir.
The only exception is if you decide to store it in blob. Then using the default attachment feature, it will store in blob, not in your database.
If you store it in which Azure blob?
Yes, Azure blob.
Yeah, those all options are there. Like as we are talking about, you can either store it on an external entity like SharePoint, Azure blob, or OneDrive even, or there are other options which are cheaper than storing it inside your Business Central tenant, because there is this limit of 80 plus GBs based on number of users that you have. So it's important you decide where you want to place your file and use that mechanism rather than storing them in your Business Central environment. Okay, so we are almost at top of our hour. So let's see you next week with maybe continuation of what's new in Business Central 20. Okay.
Great. Thank you, Saurabh.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks.